And this is not a spring chicken. Today we're going to be talking about a very special holiday.
Yeah, at least there's a mommy here to talk about it. Mother's Day.
Yay!
And you know, she's Monty's mommy, folks.
Of course.
Yeah, Monty's the little precious darling.
So when in the world did they start celebrating Mother's Day?
Actually, we're going to get to the like Mother's Day. The majority of countries that celebrate Mother's Day do so on the second Sunday of May, and this date is common for mothers to be lavish with presents and special attention to families, friends, and loved ones. But it wasn't always this way, as we're getting ready to answer her brilliant question, which we've never asked before.
Which is why did Mother's Day start? Or
Well, now it's because it's all about commercial stuff. I mean, if we can dip down to the bottom of the page and
it's all about
money,
selling things. You know, like they always said, there's always a reason for it to go to an event, which is to buy new things.
Yeah,
which is what women think. So guys, you know, maybe that's why you don't want all those special events.
We would dip right off the bat to answer a question, why there is a Mother's Day. That graph right there is why there is a Mother's Day.
Yeah, but this graph is, how much?
And it's 5 years old, but that's as close as I can get.
Oh, I am looking at it, my gosh. Jewelry, 2.14 billion. Flowers, 1.98 billion. Clothing or clothing accessories, 1.27 billion. Special outing, 2.8, you know, such as brunch or dinner, 2.83 billion. Gift certificates, 1.2. I mean, that's a lot of money.
I think it was $14 billion a year was being spent on Mother's Day. 14. Now you understand why there's a Mommy's Day? Mm-hmm. But now we'll get you into the history of it, though. So, which is pretty good. You know, basically, it's only recently been dubbed Mother's Day for commercial purposes. This saves a Hallmark moment.
Oh yeah, Hallmark sells a lot of cards. Actually, isn't Mother's Day the second biggest holiday for the florist industry besides Valentine's Day?
I also think it's just behind Easter is the biggest candy day too.
Really?
Well, because every kid gives their mother candy. I mean, it's candy, perfume, and handkerchiefs for the kids.
Yeah, and part of it is there's a lot more. I always thought there was a lot more spent on Mother's Day than Father's Day. Is that true or okay?
You know why? We're going to get to Father's Day. Father's Day only exists because somebody figured, God, we're screwing a huge amount of the population because there's got to be a daddy for every mommy. So, but basically, okay. Here is the thing. I went with my youngest to the hardware store one day, and I'm in there, and the father is grumping about, you know, it's Father's Day and nobody cares, and then the mother said, well, you wouldn't be a father if it wasn't for me. So,
and you wouldn't be a mother if it wasn't for
But that doesn't work that way in reverse. But the mothers, you wouldn't be a father unless it was for me, so we're here to get me something. And then you can be thankful that you're a father.
I know, we've been sitting there talking about Mother's Day, Monty's looking at me going, that was me.
Yeah, see, right now we're even doing something very special. We're cooking Mother's Day's cookies right next to us while we're doing this. We're sitting watching our Mother's Day cookie.
We can add some sprinkles to it. Okay, so anyway, back to Mother's Day, where it started.
Yeah, it's the traditional practice of honoring motherhood is rooted in antiquity and past rights. Typically has strong symbolic and spiritual overtones. Society tended to celebrate goddess and other symbols rather than mothers. But see, Mother Earth, so that's how it works. The material objects of adoration range from mythological female deities to the Christian church. Only in the past few centuries did celebrations of motherhood develop decidedly human focus. I mean, we got to go back to Goddess Isis. You know, basically, I know I'm just thinking what he said for me, not for anybody else. It said for my left hand, not my right. Isis is commonly regarded as the mother of the pharaohs. Her stern yet handsome head is typically crowned by a pair of bull horns, including a fiery orb. She is most often depicted sitting on a throne, yeah. So we got, I love this one. Actually, I don't know how to. Cybele, ancient Roman celebration. It's the festival of Isis is also celebrated by the Romans. Isn't that something? Celebrated by because they love pagan holidays.
Yeah.
Anything to get naked girls out there, folks. I mean, this is back in the days when they would have appreciated a girl on the beaches of France, unlike today Americans are scared of bikini girls on the beaches of France. So, basically, to put it this way, there'll be no more Mommy's Day if it's true that the men are scared of women in bikinis. This could be your last Mother's Day, folks. Basically, I love that Sub-L stems from the Greek goddess Rhea, who was the mother of most of the major deities, including Zeus. And that's a Greek celebration of Rhea, the mother of the gods. I mean, Roman Asian Minor. European celebration, celebrating Lenten Mother Church. Basically, early Christians initially used the day to honor the church in which they were baptized, which they knew as the Mother Church.
Ooh, a call comes. Well, you know, because the ships are she's, right?
Yeah, but
And Mother Church.
this is the first
Mother
time,
Earth.
but this is the first time they actually kept their clothes on. The others were all the same thing: naked women, and decorated with jewels, flowers, and other offerings. So that sort of killed the pagan stuff. So that's just sort of went out of favor for about 2,000 years.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and then it came back in the 1600s in England. Family gatherings with mom started in the 1600s. Well, because guys, you couldn't get naked women and all this stuff. Why would we have celebrations anymore? So
Oh, was that the main reason for the celebrations?
there were pagan celebrations until the 1600s.
Oh.
The clerical decree in England broadened the celebration to include real mothers, referring to the day as Mothering Day. Mothering Day, though, no longer really exists. Because Mothering Day basically, because they couldn't make it a commercial thing, became Mother's Day, and Mothering Day sort of just faded out, except in parts of the Catholic Church. During this Lenten Sunday, service and trade workers were allowed to travel back to their homes of origin to visit their families. Mothering Day also provided a one-day reprieve from the fasting of Lent, so the families across England could enjoy a family feast.
Well, actually, I just said a one-day reprieve from the fasting and penance of Lent.
Yeah.
So was Mother's Day before Easter before then?
Yeah, that's right. During this Lenten Sunday, it's before. I think it's the Sunday before Easter, folks.
Yeah, but we don't. Our Mother's Day is normally what they said the second week of
The
May,
second
which
week
is
of
always
May.
after Easter.
It's got to do with
So they've changed
commercialism,
it.
so they could make a few bucks.
Do you notice that? I mean, I know for us, like when we're looking at acquisitions, it's Mother's Day, graduation, Father's Day.
Yeah, we try and we know
Or
when,
depending on where it is, Mother's
we
Day,
know when
Father's
the
Day.
consumer electronics are coming out, and they try to hit that stuff, you know. But basically, yeah, when the English settlers came to America, they just continued the tradition of Mother's Day that would live on as an American Mother's Day would be invented. One expression was discontinued Mother's Day, they just didn't have the time. They lived under harsh conditions, and it conflicted with their Puritan ideals. Christianity, without being persecuted, pilgrims ignored the more secular holidays, focused instead on no-frills devotion to God. So basically, there went another holiday. So
Oh, that's no fun.
I know. But first, you get rid of all of the, you get rid of all of the naked women, and all of the jewels and all of this stuff, and then you go to nothing because the Puritans didn't believe in all of that stuff. Straight worshiping God, nothing else. So, but
The other stuff was fun.
But now we're going to jump 2 whole centuries now before we get
We
back
were
to
from the
Mother's
1600s.
Day.
Now we're back to the 1800s.
Yeah, 1870, the first North American Mother's Day was conceptualized with Julia Ward Howe's Mother's Day Proclamation in 1870. This, despite having penned the battle hymn of the Republic, I can do that one because
You can only do so much though.
no, it's 1870. It's out of public domain.
Oh.
It's in public domain, so I can get away with the battle of the Republic. Basically, she had been distraughted by the death and carnage of where they called on mothers to come together and protest what she saw as the futility of their sons killing one another. So, but basically, because people don't stop killing one another. Hal's Mother's Day basically went. That was a Bible.
Oh, I thought it was like take a break from warring.
No, it just basically it lasted for 10 days because basically another war started. So, so mothers didn't unite to stop the wars because women didn't have the vote. They may have controlled the household, but they didn't have a vote. So, okay, Howard planted the seed. So we got let's see. Basically, in order to reunite families and neighbors that had been divided between Union and Confederate States and Civil Union. Mother's Friendship Day was held. So, but now here we go. Now we're moving ahead into another century. Boy, I mean, mothers have really got, let's put it this way, if it went for Hallmark card, there would be no Mother's Day, folks. Because if you don't have lots of naked ladies, there's no reason for it. Boy, that's going to make one great big god awful big cookie.
Oh yes. Yes, it all just melded into
We'll
each
sit
other.
there. Well, we'll stop it. We're doing. Ooh, it's getting there.
Yes.
It's getting there. We're making a Mother's Day cake right now, cookie cake. So, but
I think I'm gonna add sprinkles to it.
yeah, we'll add some sprinkles. We'll get it out, but what it for is basically really hard. The sprinkles, I mean, it's really hot. We'll put sprinkles on here. So you're getting a really different Mother's Day. We're doing Mother's Day cooking right in front of you. You know, that was sort of our.
Well, and actually, see, part of it is a lot of times kids will do something like this for their mother for Mother's
Oh
Day.
God, I mean, we're looking back.
Oh, breakfast in bed.
I go back to the, I mean, honestly, I go back to the 1940s. You know, it's a long time ago. We used to, my mother would, my mother was into fast food at the very beginning, at the start of, you know, before World War I started, before World War II started, and, you know, she would basically work all night long. So on Mother's Day, my brothers and sisters and I would make my mother food, you know. Actually, I would cook it, my brother couldn't cook, and my sisters couldn't cook. So it meant I would do it, and then they would bring it up and say, look what we did for you, Mommy.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, actually, they wouldn't bring it up. I would bring it up, because if they let them brought it up, they couldn't get up the stairs. So I'd carry everything up, and then they say, look what we did for you, Mommy. And my father would say, go away. Go away. You know, my mother, oh, look what they did. Aren't they so cute? And my father would say, go away. So, my father didn't really think much of Mother's Day, you know, like 8 decades ago was not a big deal for him. So he was not the most romantic German on the face of this planet, but he looked good in his military uniform though, so. But in 1908, Anna Jarvis petitioned the superintendent of the church where her mother had spent 20 years teaching Sunday school. Her request was honored, and the first additional Mother's Day celebration took place simply because a mother asked that her mother be given a celebration of the 20 years that she had spent working with the church. Mm-hmm. Isn't that a good one? That's how the real Mother's Day that we know it came about. It took place in the Methodist Church in Grafton, West Virginia, and a church in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. The arranged for white carnations to adorn the patrons. 2 carnations were given to every mother to honor the mother that was there and the mother that couldn't be there because she was deceased. So here's a smart, nice thing, you know. Today, white carnations are used to honor deceased mothers, while pink or red carnations pay tribute to the mothers who are still alive. Now you know when that came about. Came about in 1908 because a mother honoring 20 years of devotion to the church. And the church just did the decree of make church or decreed Mother's Day as we know it. A church did it. Just okay, we're honoring your mother, and they honored her in 2 different churches. So this was basically what is it? Methodist Church exists. The Andrew Methodist Church exists to this day. It was incorporated in International Mother's Day Shrine in 1962. So, by the U.S. government. Yeah, something. Basically, in 1908, a senator from Nebraska liked this idea of making a Mother's Day holiday, and at the request of the Young Men's Christian Association, the proposal was defeated, but by 1949, 46 states were holding Mother's Day services as well in Canada and Mexico. See, that one woman, Anna Jarvis, quit working and devoted herself to full-time to the creation of Mother's Day. Businesswoman now. Businesswoman. So,
You've heard the name Jarvis before.
Yeah, let's say the Jarvis Center in New York City. Jacob Jarvis.
No, I thought that was Javits.
That is the same thing.
Is it the same?
That is spelled. It's spelled the same. It is the same family.
Oh.
That is the same family. It's just the spelling. Jarvis, it's just Java. It's Javas. If you're from New York City, it's Javas. Just don't speak right unless you speak with a really close accent. It's Jacob Javits Center. That's grandson.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Basically, in 1912, West Virginia became the first state to officially recognize it. In 1914, Woodrow Wilson signed it in a national observance, declaring the second Sunday in May as Mother's Day. And then we come into the money-making part, the over-commercialization of Mother's Day. So.
Well, mothers always love an excuse to buy something.
Yeah. Well, like I said.
Females do.
I know.
Well, some of them don't, but a lot of them it's like, oh yeah, a special occasion, let's get new outfits, let's get new.
The florist reviews went so far as the print. this is a holiday that we can exploit. Yeah, so you know. So yeah, Mother's Day disturbed Jarvis, so she ferociously opposed what she perceives as a misuse of the holiday. She sued in 1923 to stop Mother's Day. In
What?
1930, she was arrested for disturbing the peace at an American mothers group. She was protesting their sale of flowers.
Is it, well, wait a minute, didn't she work like 10 years to create Mother's Day?
Yeah.
Oh, she's fighting over the
She
commercialization of it.
was commercializing it because she was
Well,
very...
part of it is if you have a day, people want to celebrate it, and then you commercial, right?
Yeah, but basically she was fighting to have the flowers removed because anybody wanted to make a guess that the nice Jewish lady was selling all of the flowers at the other events, and the florists weren't participating in her thing. That's how it works. My family is Jews. I mean, you don't think we couldn't commercialize something? Part of my family commercialized selling stuff they couldn't sell. They created the sell. So and how it worked is that they had glassware they couldn't sell. So one member of the family marked everything up by about 50%, and then they marked it down by 25%, and people, 25% off. Oh God, people just flocked to buy it, and they're making 25%. That's how my Jewish family works, folks. Basically, in opposition to Flowers' exportation of the holiday, Jarvis wrote, "What will you do? Rout Charles and his band as pirates and racketeers, kidnappers, and other terrorists that would undermine with their greed one of the finest, noblest, and most trusted moments in celebration. Besides her effort, the flower sales got bigger." So all she did was by making it, by grumping about it, it got bigger.
Yeah, it drew more attention to it, and that is oftentimes what happens.
Yeah, here's one that she died. She died. Broken, penniless, and you never know whatever that the irony thing is. The Forest Association anonymously paid for her care while she was sick because she had created the biggest holiday of the year that they had.
Which was very profitable for them.
Yeah. Okay, it basically spread over 40 countries. I mean, we've got Argentina.
I mean, it's probably
France.
celebrated in most countries.
India.
Is it in most countries
Japan.
in the world?
Yeah, most of the countries in the world. We're talking communist countries celebrate Mother's Day. I know they celebrated Mother's Day I was watching last night on the military channel, they celebrated Mother's Day in Germany. The mothers of they didn't care if you were married, they celebrated you being a mother. If you had a child for the Rhineland, you were a good mother. So they celebrated the mothers in there. But Mexico, United Kingdom, Yugoslavia, Russia, basically Asia, Australia, Bahrain, Belgium, Canada, China, Denmark, Ethiopia, Finland, Hong Kong, Italy, China, Norway, Pakistan, Saudi Arabia, Serbia, Iraq, Iran, Singapore, South Africa, Sweden, Thailand, Turkey, and continued more. I mean, you don't think that this thing isn't a big deal every country in the world, communist, dictatorship or not, they all have Mother's Day. So, check cookies again for...
I know. I'm gonna go get sprinkles.
They're not ready yet, but it's getting there. It's getting there.
Sprinkles.
I know. Because they're starting to brown, so... But we are really cooking, and what you do is the old age only. I'm from the Graham Kerr style of cooking, which means you stick your hand in and if it burns it. Yeah, so.
Okay, here's my sprinkles.
Oh,
Nestle's Toll House mini toppers.
Yeah.
And then these are peppermint sprinkles. I've got chips and sprinkles.
I'm probably over by some time. Let me go check one more time.
Okay.
Because, normally she would be doing this, but this is,
Let's see.
I think I'm going to take it out. I think it's time. And you're going to see, we'll move the little computer away. See, who'd think that you'd get cooking with Mother's Day?
Isn't Mother's Day like a cooking holiday anyway?
I know, but look at
Are you
this.
putting it right here?
I know.
Are you really putting it right here?
I need to go, I'm gonna get it, this. Because here's a tip for people when you're cooking. We do, Not a Spring Chick does a cooking show. Don't ever set this stuff down on the ceramics.
Really? But the tile's been heated.
Don't set it down on the ceramics because they can mar them.
Oh.
So there we go. See, look
But
at
it's
that.
good. You can always get another wood cutting board.
Yeah. Well, just set it on a piece. Just set it down on a cutting board if you got it. But what happens is while the ceramics is all right, the grout underneath it,
Oh, actually, that makes perfect sense.
yeah, see, there she get
Can
it
you take
ready.
that off?
When in doubt, use teeth, so,
Okay, so we're gonna give it,
ooh,
aren't these cool?
I know,
These are, look at,
you know,
I like things like this. Nestle's toppers.
it looks like a
Oops.
Is she messy? Oh, yeah.
You know, these will kind of melt into it maybe.
Yeah, see, definitely, most of the time, we would not pick this stuff up, but you have to pick this up.
Because it's chocolate.
And it is not good. Okay, here, you know, the reason really why dogs can't have chocolate has nothing to do with their heart.
What, teeth?
It has to do with their teeth.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it has to do with their teeth, because all to do with teeth. I know, I got another one. I know, teeth before anything else, you'd think that.
Teeth.
Yeah, where she dumped this one. This one I don't have to clean up, because this, oh, look at that.
Oh, look at, these are little
Then I'm
sprinkles.
going to sit there and put this in for